Hello, and welcome to Lighting the Way with Beth Green and friends. I am Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. And tonight I want to talk about something that is really important for a lot of people. And it's about I can't. I can't do this. And I'm asking a question here, and we're going to be discussing how we can maybe even begin to get some answers. When is it that we really can't do something? And when is it that we just think we can't or believe we can't? So I wanted to talk about this because this is a big issue in my life, and I know it is in a lot of people's lives. And it's also an issue for the whole society. Like, oh, we can't change the economic system. We can't change the political. So we can't. So there's a lot of that. But I want to start with just the personal because it's really the same process. And I want to talk about myself first, and then I will bring on my guests, who are our panel. If you've been watching the show, you've come to know and love. And by the way, please feel free to comment. But if you want me to see your comment, you have to do it on my public Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. So, all right, here goes. So I was born evidently with a weak body and with certain hereditary issues. And so when I watched other kids doing things, I looked at them and I said, I can't do that. And I tried and I just couldn't. So I really got a very strong dose of I can't whenever it came to my physical capacities. And then as I became older, I had more and more health problems and more can'ts and then more can'ts and more can'ts. And so it all seemed very reasonable. Of course, I'm 80 and now I definitely can't, right? And so what I really realized, and in order to answer this question about what can't we do versus what we think or believe we can't do, is as usual, we have to go to an underlying question of where did you get the idea that you can't? Because let's say I've already got it in my head, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't. And then I'll find myself whimpering about it I say, okay, the only way to really know if I can do something is to try. So that makes sense. Okay. So now I'm going to try to do this. And then I quickly discover that I can't do it. And it's like, oh, no, I can't. I knew I couldn't. Why did you make me try? Now, at that point, you could say, well, objectively speaking, Beth, you can't do it. Well, this could be true of anybody, right? But maybe it's not that simple. Maybe the reason that you can't is in your psychology, and now you can't do it. And then every time you try, you prove to yourself over and over that you can't. So say, well, how could that be? How could that be? Well, I can tell you how it can be. I can tell you from my own life. Okay, so as I say, I was born with a weak body and I had trouble doing things that other children took for granted. And I was very good at things that other people couldn't do. So, hey, you could say, there it is. It's there in black and white. There's no question you couldn't. But then I have to ask myself, was there anybody in my family who really didn't want me to? And that I may have been unconsciously responding to? Did my brother want me to be big and strong? No, my brother liked being stronger than me, beating me up, showing his dominance and all of that. So, did I know that my brother wanted me to be weak? Absolutely, I knew that. I always knew that. Then let's take a look at my mother. Now, my mother didn't want me to be sick, but she didn't really mind that I was weak because she had other plans for me. So if I couldn't do anything in gym and I couldn't swim and I couldn't do anything, she never said, oh my God, we need to get some kind of remedial help for Beth so that she learns how to swim. So yeah, we throw her in a pool with all kinds of chemicals which she's allergic to and see if she can swim. Or say, oh, everybody, oh, just go like this with your legs and you should be fine. Well, I wasn't, but I didn't have any training. And my parents have didn't think that was valuable. They wanted me to be a brilliant intellectual, a musician, all of those things. God bless them, right? So I never had the help to get me beyond I can't, to show me that maybe if I did it this way, I could. Maybe I could learn. Now, if I had not been doing well in English or math or something, I'm sure my parents would have found help for me. Now, not that we had the money for those things, and fortunately, they didn't need that. So what I'm saying is that an idea was planted in me that I couldn't, but not just that I couldn't, guys, that I should not. Don't step out of your lane. Don't do something that is going to threaten somebody in your family. My mother loved owning my physical body. I was allowed to think anything I wanted, but she was in charge of my body. She was in charge of my clothes. She was in charge of what I ate. I never looked in the mirror. I took it all. My mother said, okay, that looks good on you. And I believed it. So I had given away all the power over my physical body to my mother when I was born. And it was pretty obvious. So now I started thinking about it and said, well, where did the idea that I can't do anything physical actually come from? In fact, maybe I couldn't have done a million things. Would you like to join me? Evidently, James is having some computer problems again. So let's bring him into the picture. And so I'm looking at all of the I can't do this and I can't do that, and I shouldn't because it's going to threaten somebody. It's going to make somebody upset. It's going to make somebody angry. It's going to make somebody nervous. I'm going to lose favor of somebody. Now, what I'd like you to do, but oh wait, before I go on, I just want to tell you, I have had a breakthrough around this. I don't know, knock wood, it worked. Um, but I have tightness in my chest, and my heart starts going crazy when I do a certain amount of exertion. And the other day, yesterday to be exact, James and I went to the ocean and we went on a walk and we got lost. And we ended up in a place that we had no idea where we were. And we had already been walking a lot. And my heart was just like hurting. And my legs were falling down. And I said, James, I cannot walk another step. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we had to turn around because when we got to the end, there was no place to go. I mean, it was the end. So I turned around and I said to myself, yes, I can. Because there was the voice in my head said, you can't take another step. You're going to die. Well, I had a dream about that last night. I want to tell you about that in a minute. So I said, no, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can do this. And I started walking as fast as I could. Instead of going slowly, I walked quickly because I thought if I don't walk quickly, I am never going to make it. And there were just several other, and then we ended up somewhere like a million miles away. By the time we got to our car where the battery had died, we couldn't even leave. And I sat there and I rested. And instead of just falling apart, which I normally would do, there was a hill there, went up to the ocean. You could
Sand
see
dune,
the
a
ocean. It
tall
was
sand dune.
so I've looked at that. I've tried to walk up that sand dune before, and it was like, no, I just can't. And after all of this, and so while we were waiting for AAA to come rescue us, I said, I need to see the ocean. I need to get the extra chi. And I said, yes, I can. And I walked up the damn thing. By the time we got home, I had walked 8,600 steps. Now, I want to tell you, I don't walk. I have never walked more than 6,000 steps, and that is on rare occasions. And usually by the end of that 6,000 steps, I am dragging. So if I'm lucky, I'll get 2 or 3,000 steps a day. 8,600 steps. That may not impress you, but it impressed me. And I
And
said,
me.
and you. And I said, yes, I could. Yes, I could. And I have been in the yes, I can universe since then. I knew I was going to be really tired. I have chronic fatigue. I woke up this morning, I was hurting, and I said, so what? I'm fine. I am going to be fine. And so I have now walked 3,600 steps today, which is actually a lot for me on a normal day, on not on a day after a day that I exerted myself. So I don't know if this is going to last, but I want to tell you, last night I had a dream. And in the dream, I was sitting there on a piano bench, and there was a man there, and I was supposedly interviewing him, and it wasn't working out well. But all of a sudden, he walked away, and a woman came over, and she looked straight at me, a woman I don't even know, and she said to me, "You are going to die." Hell of a dream. So I woke up and I thought, I am going to die. Is this person seeing? I mean, I didn't even have palpitations. My heart didn't hurt. I walked up, I kept walking and walking and walking. I had none of the symptoms that I'd had before. So I know that some of it is the brain. And I've been trying to retrain my brain forever, but I never really got it because that woman said you're going to die. My whole life, I was told that if I exerted myself, I was going to die because of my multitudinous illnesses, where they really thought I was going to die if I moved. So I got that message. But also on an emotional level, if I was strong, I would die. And I have a situation with somebody in my life who really doesn't want me to be strong because of their own insecurities, and I can understand that they feel insecure, so they don't want me to be strong. So that means that, oh, they're going to be mad at me, I'm going to lose their support. If I lose their support, I am going to die. So I was told I was going to die as a child over like a year and a half. I felt like I was going to die, wished I was dead. Then I have a situation now, and all of this. Yes. Oh, then Amy says, that's fantastic, Beth. Your breakthrough, I mean. Thank you, Amy. I hope you feel inspired because I just, you know, I'm telling myself, I can do this. I can keep this up. Yes, I may have to rest, but I can keep this up, especially unraveling that early message. And over all these years, I've worked on myself and worked on myself, but I never broke through that message before. And today I got up and I said, I can do it. And I worked my little A off today and just took a little rest. And I have been doing it. So, anyway, Amy says, I absolutely do feel inspired. Thank you. I really mean it because I know I can't, and start crying because I try so hard and I can't get there. And if I can't, I need to get the support instead of just giving up and letting someone else control my body, which I have my whole life. So I am going to bring some other people on because you guys can think about your own I can't. And then there's the we can't. We can't change society. We can't change the economy. We can't. And I just saw a video today called about the new economy, that there is a quiet revolution happening in America of people who are moving towards cooperation, which is exactly what we are teaching. And so right now, I'm going to bring on my guests. We start with Lizzie Treehart,
Hello.
and I am going to skip the the one of for James because he's here, and that brings Todd. All right,
And
guys.
microphone.
And here is the James. There is
Aha, there's
Hello.
the microphone. I knew it was somewhere not in front of you because I was like having a hard time hearing you, but I didn't want to interrupt you with sending you a chat message.
oh, but you can't hear me?
I could hear you, but just not as good as I usually do. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike was further
Okay,
away.
well, Lizzie says it's okay, and Amy didn't complain. So, all right, well, now here it is. So, just turn up your speakers.
it's fine. I have my headphones on. It's fine.
Okay, good.
Fine.
Okay, so who would like to share your thoughts about this? James.
Well, yes, I had an experience like that just today. You had ran into a problem with your desk,
Mhm.
and I am no handyman for fixing anything. And so you wanted me to somehow raise the tray that holds your keyboard. And I looked at the thing and says, "Oh, there's multiple moving parts. Forget about it.
He said, I can't.
I can't.
I can't.
And then you said, "Are you sure?" And I looked around and I says,
Well, wait a
"Hey,
minute.
looks like
I showed you.
you showed me
I said there
You
were
should-
these little
little
yeah,
screws."
Screws. There was just a bunch of screws because I, who can't do anything, looked at it before I went to you. So I did the I can
You
do
did
it.
that. So then I
can't
went into
do it.
I can. I looked at that and said, "I can do that."
That's right.
However, it took two people because this is a 4-part screw operation, and so anyway, she had it rest on her lap, on the front part. I just held it up on the back part. I was able to put the screws in snugly, and now we have a new setup. Me, the unhandy man.
Look at that. Oh, here it is. This is probably the one I want. Oh, now I lose
Oh, there we go.
James'
That's fun.
face. Now I lose James' face. Here we go. Here we go.
There you
Now
go.
we have James' face back. Isn't this cool?
Thank you
Yeah.
for giving me a safe face.
Yeah. And I mean, I do understand there are things we really can't do. But how many of them are programmed into us?
I have another one.
All right.
Well, as you noticed shortly after we met, you noticed that I was slipping in my cognition. And I was declining. It was getting worse and worse. And I kept hearing about, oh, well, my father had Alzheimer's, and I have the Alzheimer's gene. Oh, no, I'm doomed. And then we discovered a program where there was some hope, a Dr. Bredesen protocol. And I started believing from the examples of other people giving that I can improve my cognition. And I did. I reversed my decline, and I got better and better and better. And then I had various additional tools added along the way, including your playing healing music on the piano for me. And that boosted me up even more. So turning around my attitude helped me to turn around and reverse my cognitive decline. And I've improved and maintained that improvement.
Right. Despite aging.
Yeah.
So what do you think of them apples?
Right.
And again, I do know there are things that we really can't do, and we should never beat ourselves up for it. But maybe we haven't found the voice in our heads that's telling us we can't. Like I haven't for 80 years. Even though I kind of knew all this, I don't know, something miraculous happened. And I'm keeping it up. I'm hoping, and I'm really pleased that I managed today. So tell me more, you guys.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead. It
Okay.
can be something you think you can't do.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those that you're talking about. I can't deal with numbers very well. Like, it's not that I can't do math, but as far as like accounting, and I've tried to do that in QuickBooks. I got rid of QuickBooks and have something else now, but I've always struggled with accounting. Like, I don't know, somehow my brain just turns to mush in those situations, and I feel like I can't grasp it, or I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like it's very much of a mental, psychological thing. It's interesting because paradoxically, most of the things I can do, and I have the belief that I can do. So, and I do, like, I take on a lot of things because I just have that I can. I'll figure it out. I'm the kind of figure it out person. So I was struggling to find something, because I'm kind of the opposite. I'll push myself to do something where it's probably not right, instead of the opposite of going, I can't. But this is an area where I really do struggle. Is, like I said, finance, accounting, just, I don't know what it is.
Well, why don't we see if we can find something? By the way, Amy said looks great. I think that was when I shifted you guys. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't like the way this looks with only the two of you. It doesn't look right. So then I tried a whole variety of things right on the air while thousands of people were watching.
No, it looks good. I like it.
So, well, who could possibly have wanted you not to be good with numbers? Now, maybe you really do have a brain thing, but maybe you don't. And by the way, Todd, there are other kinds of things that we can say, I can't, like, oh, I can't overcome my ego. I can't stop dominating. I can't stop being competitive. I can't. I try to stop being competitive with my wife, but I just
When you say you try, you lie.
That's right.
Yes, that's true.
That is right. Okay, so I'm saying, I bet you have a lot of things that you didn't even put in the mix. But why don't we start with, is there anybody that, I don't mind if this is showing. In fact, I'll put it down here. How's
There we
that?
go.
Even better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a whole new desk set up, a whole new computer. Everything is different, and I'm in chaos. So.
But you can work it through.
But I can go on the air, and
Yeah.
I can talk no matter what. Okay, so who do you think might have not wanted you to be able to do numbers? Or it didn't help you? Did you have trouble in school?
No, I didn't have trouble in school. I mean, I did fine in math. It wasn't my best subject. I'd say I'm more of an art, like words and art, was my stronger suit. But I did okay in math, like B's and C's,
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be my dad.
Mm-hmm. It would.
I don't know why, just he wanted to be superior. So, like, let's not help him at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a way to stay superior, is like, don't give him any support.
That's right.
Hmm.
So you have to stand up to your dad in order for you to do something about that.
Hmm.
And, that's what I realized. I had to stand up to the voice that said, you are going to die. And because my response is, well, so is everybody else.
Right.
And, but I had to stand up to my mother and take back my body. And I didn't even realize that connection.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think back, I realized there was never any support for me physically. It just wasn't. It was like, oh, it's okay that she's weak and all that. They didn't want me to be sick. They didn't want me to die, but it's okay for her to, because the important thing is music and intellect. Those are the important things. So I was I was a talking head, right? With no body at all. So good one, Todd. So think
You
about.
made me realize something. I think it goes bigger than that. You know how we've talked about me not thinking I'm smart?
Yes.
So I think that is completely related. Like,
yes.
I was thinking about this and feeling about it, and all of a sudden, boom, like, oh, he didn't want me to be smart.
That's right.
He didn't want me showing him up.
No.
Yeah.
Now you are there, and you can feel the difference when you are there.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to get angry about it. We don't have to blame anybody. We can understand we're all kind of screwed up. And, unfortunately, we have a society based on power and fighting everybody for who's above and who's below, and hierarchy. And and you learn where you're supposed to be on the hierarchy. And God forbid you challenge that, you may get slapped down majorly, which happened to me rather dramatically in my life. So very good. So now you know who to stand up to, and say, of course I can.
Mhm.
You don't have to become a mathematical genius. You just want to be more functional. I
Right.
said, of course I can. Why
Yeah.
not? And that was the way I started just doing it. It's sort of, well, I can do this. I can do this. All right. Excellent. Well done, Todd.
Thanks. Thanks.
All righty. And Miss Lizzie.
Yes.
Yes. You're not going to tell me you can't think of a single thing that you feel like you can't.
Well, one thing I feel like I can't is stop the self-sabotaging behavior.
Oh, exactly. So glad you picked that. I just can't. So why don't you tell us how hard you've tried and how you can?
I just, yeah, make a stride forward, and then I turn around and do something that I'm not even aware I'm doing, and sabotage myself again.
So, but
Just,
I want you to say, and I've tried so hard.
I've tried so hard, and I just keep doing it over and over and over
And
again.
you're not using the words I can't. Did you notice that? No matter what I say to you, you keep not using the word I can't. You don't want to
I
embarrass yourself.
can't seem to overcome this pattern.
I just,
I just can't.
right. Now, the question is that true?
Probably not.
Probably not. You've never overcome anything else. So, as we know, you've overcome lots of things.
And then depression.
So, and here we are, hopefully inspiring people on the internet who go through the same thing. Remember, we shared this stuff not just to humiliate ourselves, but to, bring some, some clarity to others. Maybe we should do this from now on. James, you'll sit here with me, except I'll be talking for the first 20 minutes or so, and you'll be ignored. But then everybody else's face will be big. So I kind of like this. I can do this.
Works for me.
Who's going to stop me?
We can
Okay,
do this.
So Lizzie, who wanted you to not end your self-sabotaging behavior?
Mom?
Yes. And why did Mom not want you to end your self-sabotaging behavior? Notice how quickly that came up.
I don't know. Would she think was I going to catch on to hers?
Catch onto hers?
Onto her, what she was hiding?
Oh, God, yes.
And her self-sabotaging?
Right. I mean, as long as you are a chip off the old block, then there is no model there of somebody who hasn't. Who's different. See, and Amy says, I definitely have a list of I can't that I, of course, have proof for. Yes, indeed. And I want to tell you what inspired me. I was interviewed on Monday morning by a woman who has a podcast, and she's a woman of faith and a Christian. And I'm a non-denominational spiritual teacher who doesn't believe in God. So, but has a connection to the universe. Anyway, and we had a fabulous conversation. And I've always felt a lot of affinity with people who are really serious about their faith. And I mean, she is serious about it. She said, would Jesus behave this way towards gays? Would Jesus behave this way towards immigrants? Would Jesus behave this way? And she is just, stands up to all of that. So she stands up to a lot of people in her own support group, right? And, but I could also feel her energy. She had this chi energy, some people they know Tai Chi, Qigong. It's life force. And you can feel it. It is palpable. And I know this because most of my life I didn't have any. I mean, I just would feel dead. I woke up feeling dead. I went to bed feeling dead. I just felt dead. And then all of a sudden, if I had it, it was like, what's that? It's like electricity going through your body. It's like, woo, what? I like this. So anyway, and you can transmit it. And there are people who use chi to heal, and I use it too, even though I haven't had any for myself. I've had it for others. So anyway, we were talking, and at the end of it, we both we just clicked. And I talked about spiritual activism, and she, the creating a cooperative society. And at the end, after the show was over, I said to her, "Boy, I felt so much chi when we were talking." And she said, "I did too. I felt all this tingling." And I didn't even know that she was familiar with the concept, but she felt the same thing I did. It was a real moment for both of us. And she told me that she had been in a near-death experience of having a bunch of pulmonary embolisms, and she was supposed to die. 80% chance that she was going to die, and she didn't. She didn't die, and this was one of those I can't explain it moments. And I've had things that I've done to people that are miracles, and I can't explain it either. But I've been trying to have a miracle for me for a long time, and I thought about her, and I thought, if she could survive that, why can't I survive this? I can do it. And I'm mentioning this because I want to give her credit. Her name is Sylvia Warsham, and I don't even remember the name of her podcast, but I'm going to be on it. The interview will be up sometime. And but it was the right moment. I've been struggling for so many years. It was the right moment. She was the right person. Something clicked in me, and I said, I can. And I'm hoping that you guys out there, including you, Amy, you just stop listening to that voice and say, you know, at least start with maybe I can. But when we were out there and I had already walked God knows how long, and my heart hurt, and I had chest pains, and I couldn't breathe, and I knew I had to go back, and there was no escape. I had to do it. There was no way that James could rescue me, because usually I'd say, James, go get the car, right? He couldn't drive there. It wasn't allowed. I already had a plan that if they came to get him, that he would have said, this is an emergency. My wife is having a heart attack. I don't know, whatever. It was a perfect time, because I had just had that experience, and I had heard that the day before, and I was already thinking about it, and I had done some other breakthrough. I worked on James' body right after I spoke to Sylvia, and I said, I can impact him physically, not just spiritually and emotionally. I can impact him physically. And I did. And I said, I can do this. So somehow or other, that woman helped me to turn that corner. And yesterday was a miracle. It was a miracle. And I don't want to give in. It's so easy to fall back into, yeah, well, that was an anomaly. I really can't, but somehow. And I want to believe that as I get rid of all these roots of the I can't, that I can will come forward. So does anyone have anything else they would like to share on this topic? Oh, somebody just texted me or did a private chat. Her podcast is, oh, wait a minute, it went away. Her podcast is called Release Doubt, Reveal Purpose with Sylvia Warsham. Very cool. Thank you. That was Todd. Thank you. He could and he did.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Sylvia. And we're going to be up, I don't know when, but you might, I would have thought that I wouldn't have liked talking to her, but I loved it because I could feel, she and I talked about oneness the whole time.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
what it's all about. Spirituality is all about oneness, right? And so there it was. And the oneness that I was able to gain strength from someone who wanted me to be well instead of all the people in my life who wanted me to be weak. You know, I needed somebody out there in the world, and when James wants me to be strong, I am stronger too. And when you want me to be strong, I'm stronger. And when you want me to be weak, I'm stupid.
I have an I can. Because the
Okay.
thing that Lizzie came up with, I was thinking the exact same thing, that her mom didn't want to because she didn't want to get busted on her own. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I can.
You
I'm
can.
intuitive.
You're
Yeah.
intuitive.
I love that. And that's true for you too, James. You always think you're not intuitive. You think you have to be on a, on, some spiritual hierarchy in order to be intuitive. But that has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality has to do with oneness, not about better than. So, and you can do that too. You have these moments of you feel energy, and that is spiritual and all of that. I love that. But if Lizzie, if your mother had seen you say no to all those I can'ts, she would have had to face that she was doing that to herself. Because I know that your mother had the strength. Look at what she endured and what she did with 9 children and a farm and a sick husband and all kinds of stuff. And she could, but she didn't. She was afraid to believe it. And I'm not going to talk about why on the air, but it's absolutely right. And so that was your model, and you didn't want to, and more than that, you didn't want to call her out on her stuff. So this has been a great show.
I agree. You can liberate yourself from that now, though. That's cool.
Absolutely. And I apologize for not moving the microphone where it was supposed to be. But as I
I heard
say,
you
everything
fine.
is a new, and it was fine. Oh, good, because this is all a new set. And I said, I don't care. I can go on. I can do this. So please like or love this on Facebook. And please give this a thumbs up on YouTube and become a YouTube subscriber and click the notification button and follow us on Facebook as well. And please do the public page and write your comments and let us know what you're thinking. And I also want to tell you that we have, and please share this program. A lot of people need to hear this. This is not the easy, oh, I'm going to do an affirmation. It's like, I can't. No, I did the affirmations up the wazoo. That didn't, I had to get to the root of the problem. And you're getting to the root, and you can. And I just want to tell you that we have a new playlist on YouTube, which is, I call it Beth Green's Improvisational Mini Concerts. And it's at the piano, and because I'm not using the piano anymore for Magical Improvs. Oh, yes, come back Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time for Magical Improvs with the Kindred Spirits Band. And I'm playing a keyboard instead of the piano. And now we're doing separate videos. And I had to learn all this new technology in order to get this up, and a new program and a new computer and everything. Anyway, I did it. I can. I'm not that, I wasn't too fatigued. I didn't fall asleep in the middle of the day. I didn't sleep for 5 hours today, even though I should have. Anyway, I'm taking that as a yes. And so take a look at that music. It's just like the first one is just 10 minutes. And the idea is that, see, if you're small, Lizzie, you can yawn and nobody knows. But now when you're big, so this music is just there for you to tune in whenever you want to, few minutes of your day, put up your feet, listen, relax, listen to some improvisational piano music inspired by the universe. And that is it, I think, for today. So thank you to our Amy for all her wonderful comments. And thank you to our 3 friends who are here today. And thank you for all of you who are listening later. And thank you to all of you who are thinking the same things, and we never even meet each other, because we are all one and we're all supporting ourselves and each other. Mutual support to co-create a better world. And let's never think that we can't change our world, because we can.